So today I'm going to talk about how my lifestyle has changed since moving. I want to get into my habits before I moved here. I used to not work, not because I didn't want to work. I wanted to work, believe me, I did. But the employer that I had previously basically I was on a 0 hour contract. I became ill, as I do every year when I work in my country, in my hometown specifically. And I couldn't work for a while, and I came back after recovering, and they wouldn't let me work. They wouldn't give me any hours, and they didn't fire me. They just said, "Oh, come back next week. I'm sorry, we hired on some new people to cover you. Come back next week. Come back next week." And a month went by, and a month and a half went by, and I just basically said, "You know what? I quit. You're obviously not going to hire me or give me more hours anymore. So, and you're not willing to fire me. So I quit. I don't have time for this." So I tied up that loose end. Another thing about my lifestyle before moving here is I would sleep in a lot. I would stay up late and I would sleep in. Because I could. I had no job. I had no pay. I had no bills to pay apart from one Adobe membership for Photoshop and Lightroom, and that's about it. Even then, I was caring from my mother, so I had carers allowance and obviously unemployment allowance and stuff like that. So I was just basically, jobless and living on benefits at the time. I didn't want to be on benefits. I wanted to work, but my past job decided that I was insufficient. My town during the summer is one of the most relentlessly difficult places to work. It is just, if you ever lived in a tourist town and you just happen to be a waiter or a chef or someone who works directly with the busyness that comes with the tourist season, you'll understand my pain. That's kind of one of the things that really happened with us, was sleeping in and being bored. There wasn't really much to do. I would hike a lot, which I'm assuming, like that's a healthy lifestyle, to be hiking a lot. Or like cycling. I would do a lot of cycling. Like it got to one point where I was cycling like 6-7 days a week because I had nothing to do, so I basically just burned the rubber on the tarmac and just, would cycle. I would cycle like 30 mile, 40 mile on an average cycle, on like an average day, and if I'm with the group, sometimes more. So at least I had that. I was maybe not necessarily healthy because I was doing it so much, but I was being active and I wasn't staying still, so at least I had that. And I was doing a lot of photography, which was good. So I was working on my hobbies at least. But I wasn't really eating healthy because my parents were providing food all the time and there was plenty of food in the fridge all the time. I would often I wouldn't say overeat because I was cycling, so I was burning a lot of calories, so I was probably doing fine. But I would often eat the unhealthy things like snacks and chocolate, all these sweets and not necessarily good whole foods. They would be mostly processed, and it just generally wasn't healthy. Even for vegetarian vegetarian food, it was not necessarily the healthiest. But since moving here, a lot has changed. I'd often wake up early. I wake up about 7 a.m. I do want to move that a little earlier because I feel like waking up a little early would be nicer, but because my job is in the evenings, I often have to work quite late, and I'm home reasonably late. So unless I get a new job that's a bit more like during the day, I'm currently not able to wake up any earlier than 7 a.m. Another thing is I'm always, out and about, which is very similar to my previous lifestyle, but it's usually to do with work. I'm usually out working or doing Deliveroo. I'm quite active, which is good, and that's due to my jobs more than anything. Other than that, I don't necessarily go out, which is probably not the best. Though I do have Sunday free because I have been working about 7 days a week. Now they have been short hours, but 7 days a week is not necessarily something you want to be doing when working. You want to have a few days off and stuff like that. Again, I'm hoping to change my schedule to allow at least 1 to 2 days off. Because I'm currently working short hours often. I want to be working longer hours less often. That's the goal. I still have a dream to be a barista, and I'm doing my damnedest so that I can be a barista. And you'll see this as a running theme for me for quite some time. I just want to be a barista. That's all I want in life. I just want some humble job in a nice cafe, or maybe even an office cantina, and just be a barista. That's all I want. But at the moment, I'm working a lot. I'm doing a lot when it comes to my job, which is definitely a change. I have 2 jobs now instead of 1 or none, and I enjoy one far more than the other, but both of them are reasonably enjoyable. If someone said you like your job, I'm like, yeah, I love the delivery job because it's cycling. There are moments where I'm like tired, or I've got a lot of stuff in my bag and it's just a little bit too much, but for the most part I enjoy it. I really need a better bike though. That's another thing I need to change my lifestyle, is a better bike. But I'm very active when it comes to like my jobs, and that's one thing I appreciate with my lifestyle change. I'm also finally I'm adopting a minimalist lifestyle now. I kept on saying to myself when I was at home, like, I'll do it, and I'll start next week. I'll start decluttering a little bit. And I did a little bit of decluttering and stuff like that. But I still had a lot of stuff. I still have stuff at home that I haven't brought over. And I brought quite a lot over, but most of it I just want to sell. Like, there's a microphone, you can see it, it's kind of right there. I want to sell that. There's a lens I want to sell. There's quite a lot of things I just want to pass on to someone else so that they get to enjoy the value of said equipment. Mostly it's just equipment, like tech stuff that I just need to sell. But for the most part I have adopted a rather minimalist lifestyle. Not like the classic quote-unquote minimalism lifestyle, but to me it's a it is a minimalism, or it is a minimal lifestyle. Another thing that has changed with my lifestyle definitely is I've started thinking more consciously. I started thinking more about my money and my income, what I'm paying for, what I eat. I definitely have become healthier with my food choices. A lot of it's whole food, so a lot of it I have to cook from scratch, and I enjoy that a lot. I love cooking, so it really does add value to my life, and probably makes my diet far more healthy than it previously was. I do find there are moments where I forget to eat before shopping, and I sometimes buy a chocolate bar, but a chocolate bar once a week isn't going to kill me. The things that haven't changed really much is the cycling. I've done a lot of cycling since moving here, and so that hasn't really changed much. And I probably still drink a little too much coffee. Sometimes it's 2 cups a day, sometimes it's 4, like today. But I generally try to keep it to 1 to 2 cups. Yeah, that's one thing that definitely hasn't changed. There are some things I still want to change. I definitely want to improve in my minimalist lifestyle. I want to declutter a bit more. There's a few things, as I said, that I want to sell on and stuff like that. And there's also another thing. I was bouldering a lot when I was looking after my friend's house. I would go bouldering like about once a week, and I love bouldering. I love rock climbing in general, and it's a really good way for me to exercise my upper body, because I'm doing a lot of exercising with my legs at the moment. A lot of it's to do with my legs, but I do want to incorporate the rest of my body, because I'll just get really toned legs but still really like skinny noodly arms. And that's not necessarily the body that I'm looking for. and it's not it's not unhealthy, but it's just not something that I'm looking for. So when things settle down a little bit more financially, I'm hoping to start a membership in a local bouldering hall. Just kind of go every preferably 3 days a week or more. If that's not possible, then maybe just 2 days. Because it is very therapeutic for me, and I love it because it's basically problem solving plus exercise. It's not boring like a normal gym, and that's how I would treat it. I would treat it like a gym membership. I would go often and just climb and enjoy it, because I have the equipment. I have climbing shoes, I have chalk. I just haven't used it since moving into my own room, which is a bit disappointing, but yeah, that's not much I can do about that until I get my membership. So I think that's everything that I need to say about this topic. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.